and love uplift your soul. You're listening to the live Jalsa broadcast only on Voice of Islam Radio. Stay tuned. Stay inspired.
है शब रोज हर शख्स से इज़हार जलसाए सालाना के सामान के
From the heart of Hadeeqatul Mahdi, this is Voice of Islam Radio, your spiritual companion throughout Jalsa Salana UK 2026. Experience the power of unity, hear inspiring speeches, and feel the global brotherhood as we bring you live coverage from the Jalsa site. Whether you're near or far, let the message of peace, faith, and love uplift your soul. You're listening to the live Jalsa broadcast only on Voice of Islam Radio. Stay tuned. Stay inspired.
है शब रोज हर शख्स से इज़हार जलसाए सालाना के सामान के
From the heart of Hadeeqatul Mahdi, this is Voice of Islam Radio, your spiritual companion throughout Jalsa Salana UK 2026. Experience the power of unity, hear inspiring speeches, and feel the global brotherhood as we bring you live coverage from the Jalsa site. Whether you're near or Islam Radio. Stay tuned. Stay inspired.
है शब रोज हर शख्स से इज़हार
वालेकुम या जमा अस्सलामु अलैकुम सलामु
You're listening to Voice of Islam Radio, broadcasting live from the annual convention of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community UK from Hadeeqatul Mahdi. Stay tuned for an inspiring experience over the next 3 days here at Voice of Islam Radio.
salamu salamu salamu
Allahu Akbar.
Salamu alaikum ya jama. Salamu alaikum ya jama.
जलसाए सालाना के सामान के
From the heart of Hadeeqatul Mahdi, this is Voice of Islam Radio, your spiritual companion throughout Jalsa Salana UK 2026. Experience the power of unity, hear inspiring speeches, and feel the global brotherhood as we bring you live coverage from the Jalsa site. Whether you're near or far, let the message of peace, faith, and love uplift your soul. You're listening to the live Jalsa broadcast only on Voice of Islam Radio. Stay tuned, stay inspired.
मोहब्बत है शब रोज हर शख्स से इजहार
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. I seek refuge with Allah from Satan the accursed. In the name of Allah, the gracious, the merciful. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May the peace and blessings of Allah the Almighty be upon all of you coming into Jalsa Salana, or whether you're listening from home or online. Thank you for joining us this morning. And you know the agenda of the show, this is the Friday morning breakfast show, but this is the Jalsa Salana special. This morning we are joined live here from the studio here at Hadeeqatul Mahdi at the Jalsa Salana site. And we have a packed show for our listeners this morning. The topic of discussion that we'll be going into after going through some of our main news items is that the first topic of discussion is that we'll be looking at knowing Allah, the foundation of love. And for this particular segment, we will be joined by respected Abdullah Wagishauser, who will be live here in the studio. So we're going to have a good discussion with the respected Abdullah Wagishauser, who is the president of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community in Germany. We'll also be speaking with Arfa Khan, and after that, for the second segment, we're going to be talking about living a life cultivated by love for Allah. And for this particular segment, we'll be joined by Susan Webb. We'll also be speaking to Mr. Hadeeqatul Mohsin Abid, and we'll also be joined by Haley Rose. So that's all going to be from 8:15 to 9 a.m. And as you know, the first 20 minutes to half an hour, we like to go through some of the main news which is happening around the world. You know, today I have my main main boss, my host today. He's told me to host, which is a very huge honor for me. Assalamu alaikum, brother Walid. How are you doing this morning?
Walaikum salam, you my boss. Being very humble. Yes, it's a great morning. It's a bit of a change. Change is difficult for old people generally to absorb. But this is a very welcome change because we normally broadcast from Bethel. But now we broadcast from this auspicious location.
Absolutely.
An auspicious occasion of the Jalsa Salana. So it's a great privilege.
Obviously, honestly, it is a huge privilege that we get to do this every year. You know, they don't get bored of us. they don't get bored of us, so we've been coming here every year. So it's always good to present alongside you.
Yeah.
How did you find coming in the site? Do you think it was swift? Well, how did you find the experience?
So, right. Yes. So, as far as the experience is concerned coming in, well, because it was early in the morning, so it was a very clear run. And from London, the London Mosque, it's just a case of a 45-minute drive. So
oh, really?
Quite,
wow.
So It was quite good. Once you get there, then you are confronted with a maze of routes that you need to take in order to park. So that was a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, yeah.
And the other challenge is to make sure that you know where you park, so that when you come back, you're able to locate your car.
You're able to look at your
Yeah.
guy, yeah. This time I'm staying at Farnham, so not too far from here. I just thought,
Right.
try make my life a bit easier just coming in. So yeah, I had a pleasant drive, about 22 minutes. You could see 20 to 20
Really?
minutes. Yeah.
You were able to book quite easily in Farnham, or did you book?
Yeah, it was very easy. It was my in-laws' house, so it's free of charge as well.
Okay, so you married well.
That's the way to go. You have to keep all logistics in mind.
Okay.
And so I think I'll start off with the weather, Brother Walid.
Yeah.
So the weather this morning, this is from BBC Weather, and this is the forecast for Farnham. The forecast is that this morning will be dry with plenty of sunshine around, turning cloudier this afternoon, but the evening should see sunshine redevelop, very warm. The forecast for tonight is that a dry night tonight with predominantly clear skies and mild. The weather for Saturday is that dry and sunny morning, turning cloudier later in the afternoon with some isolated showers moving in by the evening. And following that on Sunday, mostly cloudy with scattered showers on Sunday morning, but turning dry with sunny spells developing later in the day. Dry with plenty of sunshine on Monday and Tuesday, with patchy and cloud developing during the afternoon. I mean, it has been very hot. So I've been on site, almost this past week. Just it is quite hot, and the ground is very dry. Particularly, with the areas where the car is driving, there's a lot of dust. That would or a lot of you could say, a lot of sand will just be blowing away. So I would suggest a lot of the listeners coming in as well that do have a face mask, and obviously be prepared, keep yourself hydrated at this time. Yeah.
Okay. But the forecast, from what I can remember, is quite pleasant going forward, isn't it? It's under 29 degrees.
It's
This weekend.
it will be quite warm. I don't see any signs of any showers. There is possibly there will be some showers on Sunday. That is the forecast, but let's see. The Friday and Saturday are looking very good.
Yeah, it's not the kind of temperatures that we were suffering earlier on, 35, 36, 40.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's a blessing.
Yeah. Especially with such a big crowd, we have over 40,000 people that turn up. So it gets quite humid even in the main seating area. And in the how would you translate Jalsa Ga in English? How would you translate the Ga?
Site, I would
Site. Yeah. So
but then
even though they've got ACs over there, that
really.
yeah. So if you look on the top, they've got ACs. So
Do they work?
yeah, very very good, very well. But because it's such a huge gathering, you won't feel it as much because there's a lot of heat,
Right.
just generally. Yeah.
Okay. So everything bodes well for the future. Let's hope that we are blessed with a successful event.
I mean.
Yeah.
You've got some news items.
I've got some notes about things that are happening around in the UK that caught my eye.
Yes.
And I just wanted to share them with our listeners. One is the some would say the 20-mile-an-hour speed limit, and that's a story that perhaps we're not familiar with some of us. Anyway, in case you didn't know, the speed limit on most of our rural roads is set at the national speed limit, and that's at 60 miles an hour. Now, the Active Travel England, that's a Department for Transport agency, is suggesting that this should change, and they are advocating that the speed limit on our country lanes in rural towns and villages in England should be no more than 20 miles an hour. Not sure if motorists would welcome this change. In 2023, about 3 years ago, Wales became the first UK nation to introduce a default 20 miles an hour speed limit that had to withdraw the measure because it restricted roads in order to fend off a backlash against it. Now, many of London roads also have a 20 miles per hour speed limit. Now, despite protestations by some motorists against a 20 mile per hour speed limit, having it does improve our safety. A report for Wales showed that there was a 10% drop in casualties following the imposition of the lower limit, and it cannot go unnoticed that in 2024. Almost 2/3 of all road deaths in Great Britain occurred on rural roads, despite carrying less traffic than in urban areas. So this move to try and introduce a 20 mile per hour speed limit on rural roads does have merit. Chris Boardman, former Olympic cyclist, so cyclists particularly want a lower speed limit, he said 20 miles per hour is a tool to be used if you have people mixing in areas where you want to see more people walking and cycling. That's not going to happen if you have them mixing in a confined space with high speeds. He's evidently alluding to another benefit of the application of low speeds on rural roads. But among the detractors of making such a change is Richard Holden. Now, he's the Shadow Transport Secretary. He said these limits were a disaster when Labour imposed them. This is the 20 miles per hour speed limit in Wales. And we're already being widely reversed because these are already being widely reversed because they hit rural communities hardest, where pedestrians, cyclists and motorists already share many roads. So that's his view. Our local transport minister, Lillian Greenwood, she may have changed, but at the time of writing this, it was Lillian Greenwood. She noted that the guidance of reducing the speed limit was not mandatory, but optional. She said, and I think that the authority has been given to local authorities. And so she said that by giving local authorities straightforward advice to deliver walking and cycling routes which are practical, safe and accessible, we are not just connecting the residents of hamlets, villages and towns with more opportunities, but encouraging healthier options too. I'm sure this is all too relevant to the members of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community in Britain because the international headquarters of the community is in Farnham, a very rural area, Tilford to be exact. And then we have, of course, this site in Waltham near Alton, which is the venue of the annual Jalsa, the annual convention that we're holding. So it's perhaps very much relevant to us, more so than it would be otherwise. The other story that also caught my eye was this thing in the Times. This is on the 18th of July, 2026. It's about the search that still goes on about in the heavens about the discovery of another life form or planet that can sustain life. So this is the story of the discovery of, yes, another Earth-like planet that could sustain life. The planet is known, it's not a very romantic name, LHS 1140b, that's the name of the planet. is 49 light years away, so it'll take light 49 years to reach it. It orbits a red dwarf, the smallest, coolest type of star, at a distance where liquid water could exist. There is evidence that it has an atmosphere and a rocky surface. Colin Cherubim of Harvard University is the lead author of this study. He says this is the first time anyone has found an atmosphere on a rocky planet in the habitable zone of another star. Dr. Robert Wordsworth is professor of environmental science and engineering, and he says that if planetary sciences seem to suggest that the discovery marked the latest step in a rapid growth of knowledge about other planetary systems, especially those that may sustain or contain life. So he says that 20 years ago, we wondered whether other terrestrial type planets even existed. Then we learned they're common and found some in the habitable zone. The next question was whether any of them had managed to keep an atmosphere. Now we know at least one has. What amuses me about these kinds of news stories, and this is why actually I thought it'd be worth mentioning them, that they confirm the knowledge enshrined in the Holy Quran revealed 1500 years ago. When scientists continue seeking water in these heavenly bodies as a positive sign for the possibility of life, the Holy Quran had already stated this in Surah Al-Anbiya, verse 31, when it affirmed that we made from water every living thing. So this fact is now being acknowledged as very much true and very much a sign of life if it is to be found anywhere in the universe. And in their uncertainty, the uncertainty of the sciences of whether they will find life elsewhere in the universe, the Holy Quran is again so clear. It says again in chapter 42, verse 30, and among his signs is the creation of the heavens and the earth, and of whatever living creatures he has spread forth in both. In other words, extraterrestrial life definitely exists elsewhere, according to the Holy Quran. Not only that, but the Holy Quran goes further and says Allah has power to gather them together when He will so please. It's the same verse in chapter 42. So the message of the Holy Quran for these scientists is emphatic and categorical. Go on looking for water in these heavenly bodies and seeking other life forms. They definitely exist. And more than that, we will come in contact with them at some time in the future. I wonder how long it will take them to realize these truths of the Holy Quran. So that was something that was quite intriguing. Another, if I can just go on, one more story that also I think appealed to me is about coffee. And there's a debate about coffee as to whether it is beneficial for you or harmful for you. But now scientists at the American Heart Association have come to an answer. They have concluded that having 2 to 4 cups of the beverage is beneficial. So 2 to 4 cups is good because it can lower risk of heart disease, diabetes, heart failure, and stroke. So in such quantities, coffee is good, 2 to 4 cups. Now, 1 cup contains about 80 to 100 milligrams of caffeine. Tea has about 50 milligrams. A can of Coca-Cola has 33 milligrams. And a can of Red Bull contains a staggering 80 milligrams. So this research published in the journal Circulation claims that up to 400 milligrams of coffee a day is, and I quote, generally safe for most adults and appears to be linked to a lower risk of several cardiovascular conditions. So there's the health benefit. But the same research cautions over energy drinks and bars as there was limited evidence that this research showed that they were any good for health. They said the high level of caffeine in energy drinks, and I quote, may increase the risk of high blood pressure and irregular heart rhythm or arrhythmia. So they're not too keen on these bars and high energy drinks. Remember that the Holy Quran says about not exceeding the bounds, and we can see this with coffee, with the coffee consumption as well. A limited amount is fine, even good for health, but too much is not. It'll get you into trouble. But because this research concluded that having more than 400 milligrams a day was linked to anxiety, heart palpitations, sleeplessness, and high blood pressure. Professor Gregory Marcus of the University of California, an author of the study, said, caffeine consumed in coffee is a key part of daily life for millions of people. And our review of the most recent research for most adults, intake of up to 400 milligrams of caffeine a day, the equivalent of up to 5 cups of caffeinated coffee per day without added sugar or filter, is safe and does not increase cardiovascular risk. However, high doses of caffeine, such as those found in energy drinks, may have harmful effects on the heart. And Professor Marcus added, it is important to remember that there is no one-size-fits-all strategy for safe consumption. So it does matter to some extent on the individual, but generally 5 cups of coffee a day is good. More than that may be running you into trouble. So there you go.
I mean, that's actually in line with the teachings of Islam as well, right? As too much of something is not good, because the Holy Quran itself says, وَكُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا وَلَا تُسْرِفُوا إِنَّهُ لَا يُحِبُّ الْمُسْرِفِينَ, that God Almighty says that eat and drink, but do not transgress. Allah the Almighty, surely He does not love the transgressors. So there should be balance.
Yes.
Anything you eat, sometimes, honey itself is very good. And it's even mentioned in the Holy Quran, if I was to eat honey every day, too much sugar would not be good as well.
No.
So no, it's good you said that.
Yeah.
I'll lay it off on the coffee. I'll show it out.
Yeah, but it does help you keep awake, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Especially at this time in the morning.
Absolutely. I think I'm going to need a coffee after the breakfast show.
But you have to be careful, not exceeding 5 cups a day.
Absolutely. So in other news, one news item that I wanted to mention was the inspection His Holiness did just yesterday. And His Holiness visited the site to inspect arrangements to address the volunteers working around the clock, and His Holiness visited the kitchen, including the roti plant, the butchery, pot washing station, and store. His Holiness took a detailed look at how all these departments are operating and spoke to duty workers. His Holiness also inspected a number of exhibitions, including Humanity First, the Review of Religions, True Islam UK, IAAE, the Ahmadiyya Archive and Research Center, and Al-Hakam, which notably featured a model of Qadian this year. So we're just going to be taking a short break, and after the short break, we will be going into our first main segment, and we will be discussing knowing Allah, the foundation of love. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back shortly after this break.
You're listening to Voice of Islam Radio, broadcasting live from the annual convention of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community UK from Hadeeqatul, Mahdi. Stay tuned for an inspiring experience over the next 3 days here at Voice of Islam Radio.
Salamu, salamu, salamu.
Allahu Akbar.
سلام عليكم يا جماعة سلام عليكم يا جماعة سلام
नजारा फिर करे एक बार
This is Voice of Islam Radio, coming to you live from the blessed grounds of Hadeeqatul Mahdi, the home of Jalsa Salana, the annual convention of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community in the UK. Join us for spiritual reflections, inspiring speeches, and the true spirit of peace and unity. Stay with us for a live Jalsa coverage all day long.
जलसाए सालाना के सामान के
From the heart of Hadeeqatul Mahdi, this is Voice of Islam Radio, your spiritual companion throughout Jalsa Salana UK 2026. Experience the power of unity, hear inspiring speeches, and feel the global brotherhood as we bring you live coverage from the Jalsa site. Whether you're near or far, let the message of peace, faith, and love uplift your soul. You're listening to the live Jalsa broadcast only on Voice of Islam Radio. Stay tuned, stay inspired.
मोहब्बत है शब और रोज हर शख्स से इजहार يا من غدا في نوره وضيائه
You're listening to Voice of Islam Radio, broadcasting live from the annual convention of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community UK from Hadeeqatul Mahdi. Stay tuned for an inspiring experience over the next 3 days here at Voice of Islam Radio.
أخدى الهداة وأشجع الشجعان لا إله
Celebrating 10 years of spreading the true teachings of Islam. Broadcasting live from the blessed grounds of Hadeeqatul Mahdi in Hampshire, the home of Jalsa Salana UK. One voice, the voice of Islam.
محمد رسول الله
عليكم يا جماعة سلام عليكم سلام
You're listening to Voice of Islam Radio, broadcasting live from the annual convention of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community UK from Hadeeqatul Mahdi. Stay tuned for an inspiring experience over the next 3 days here at Voice of Islam Radio.
سلام سلام الله أكبر سلام عليكم يا جماعة سلام عليكم يا جماعة سلام
नजारा फिर करे एक बार
This is Voice of Islam Radio, coming to you live from the blessed grounds of Hadeeqatul Mahdi, the home of Jalsa Salana, the annual convention of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community in the UK. Join us for spiritual reflections, inspiring speeches, and the true spirit of peace and unity. Stay with us for a live Jalsa coverage all day long.
जलसाए सालाना के सामान के
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. In the name of Allah, the gracious, the merciful. Peace be upon you and welcome back to the Breakfast Show. You are listening to myself, Tokir, and also Brother Waleed here in the studio of Voice of Islam. And we're discussing our first segment. We're looking at the topic of Allah the Almighty, and this is a very beautiful topic when when we are trying to develop in our spirituality and develop that love for Allah the Almighty. So Islam teaches that love for Allah cannot exist without first knowing Him. And the foundation of a believer's spiritual life is marfat, recognition and understanding of God's attributes, mercy, power and nearness. This first hour explores how true knowledge of Allah leads to love and how that relationship is built through reflection, worship and revelation, and why in a modern world filled with distractions, reconnecting with the Creator is essential for the purpose and peace. So for this particular segment, we do have with us respected Abdullah Wagasauza. And respected Abdullah Wagasauza, he is the national president of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community in Germany. Assalamu alaikum, Amir Sahab, how are you doing? So, it's always wonderful having you. We had a wonderful conversation when you came last year as well. How was it like coming to the Jalsa site? I know you came with a group of cyclists, so tell us a bit about that. How was the ordeal for you?
Oh, it's a real adventurous issue. I mean, to come by bike with 25 cyclists, and I do it now since almost 15 years, and it was hard for me, I mean, to collect Ahmadis around me, I mean, who cycle with me, but now they are. The youngest was 14 and is 14. The eldest is with me is, over 60.
Wow.
Like this, So, I mean, we enjoyed a lot. To go in a group of cyclists is a dynamic and an atmosphere, where you have so much joy and competition. It's really amazing. And this time we had a new route, and the route was as well that we had to go to Battle Fatou. Battle Fatou is our mosque in Morden.
Okay.
But we came from the north, so we had to pass through whole London, and this is an experience. It's one cycle, but when you go in a group, there's more. And this was a real enjoyment, and we go with the motto, Muslims for peace, and love for all, hatred for none. And I tell you, people like this, and they like it, When they see Muslims for peace, okay, and then cyclists, I think it looks like they were waiting for this message, and said that they could not listen it before.
Did you get any verbal response? Any people coming up to you?
A lot. Wherever we stop, people come and we talk. Elderly people, younger people, and we had a lot of experience. And you have 25 people, and everybody has a different mindset here. And some talk with very old people, some talk with young people, some talk with the business people, with the shopkeepers, and continuously with police sometimes, but rarely police.
I mean, I'd be surprised. I thought if you're cycling, you'd just be getting on with it and getting these conversations. But I'm surprised that people would stop. You would have these conversations with different people.
But even while driving, they are talking, and like and sometimes it's like you listen to chickens are cackling, Cycle is an issue you can get addicted to. The beautiful of nature you experience. We went through Holland, and a fantastic infrastructure for cyclists. We dream in Germany from something like this. We had many such issues.
I mean, personally, I'm more of a runner. I don't really do cycling.
I come from running.
So my go-to in the mornings is that Richmond Park in the morning.
Meditation.
I absolutely love it.
But my orthoped, my doctor said after a while, your hips, better you do session on the bike as well, so I came to biking.
Oh, that's how it started. That's how
And
it
then I
started for you.
swimming, and then you are a triathlete,
Yeah,
and you can
yeah.
go old with it.
So, what are some of the tips if someone wants to go long distancing for cycling? What sort of tips will you give to them?
Even you need not to take water, because you get water everywhere, and you can talk with people to get water. Sometimes people ring the bell of somebody, have you water for me? And
Yeah.
they get water and they have a connection. I mean, start with a gravel bike or something like this.
Yes.
But nowadays you can even rent bikes, you know. I mean, it was in the beginning, you know, our people, they have come from abroad and built up their career and their life here. And for them, to have a bike for 500 was under imagination.
Yeah.
Now they have bikes for 5,000, for 8,000. They're crazy as the Germans and the British are crazy for bikes.
Yeah. Wonderful. So, in terms of the topic of discussion, as we discussed earlier, that we're looking at knowing Allah, the foundation of love. So, Brother Walid, if you can,
Yes.
what is our first question for our guest?
So, as somebody who came to Islam later in life, what was the understanding of Allah that resonated with you, that brought you close to Islam, you think?
You know, I'm born as a Catholic, and I left religion because we were frustrated, I mean, of the result and the experience which we had through. We felt no spirituality or no understanding of the system. Is there God or is there not God? Yeah. So we went to the political side of the game and studied Marx and Engels. But then the influence of the music from East came, yeah. And to cut short, I mean, then came yoga and meditation, then Buddhism, and then the gaining for some experience with God. And again, Hazrat Isa, Jesus came again and we tried to follow his wonderful examples. And then in the end, you know, I went on a journey to the East, because most of the religion came from there, because Islam was not on my agenda, yeah. But God brought me to Islam, yeah. And because I was gaining for an experience with a living God, yeah, why he should have spoken only in the time of Hazrat Ibrahim and Hazrat Musa, why not in our time? We need him more than ever before. Yeah. So then I experienced real that he entered into my life and into my searching, and I found situations where I remember I was once. I mean, I had already started to do regular prayer, of course, very, basics, and.
You mean Islamic prayer or just prayer?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Of course, before I had some altar there, and I prayed, of course, to God. You know, I'm looking now for so long. I mean, where you are, why you're not coming? Because I know Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, Jesus, he prayed too on the Mount Carmel, that with the forehead on the ground, yeah. Let this cup pass away from me. So I got dreams, and Allah showed me, I mean, how my life will become. Yeah? So I had wonderful dreams of family life. You know, I was of children and rowing with a boat on rivers. You know, I mean, so he gave me a comfort that things will become good. Then I had, it was then in Rabwa, in our spiritual center at that time. I came, I had already embraced Islam Ahmadiyya. I came from Qadian. In Qadian I embraced Islam Ahmadiyya. Then I came to Rabwa, And in Rabwa, I was in the guest house in the night. I had a dream. I was involved in a fight, in a karate fight. Yeah, so I was in the better position than my counterpart. Yeah, I was controlling everything. I was knowing exactly what he will do. And then I became, what you can say, overconfident. Yeah, so I wanted to use my knowing I'm the stronger man. Yeah. So I wanted to give him a lecture. Yeah. So in the moment I hit him, yeah, there was an explosion, yeah, and I woke up and there was an old heater, in these days, yeah. And a big flame came out of his heater, and there was fire. So I put my towel and everything and closed this fire. Yeah, everything was fine at that time. But this was a lecture for life, that whenever you feel that you're superior, yeah, don't misuse it. Yeah? Stop it. I mean, don't show the other even that you're superior. Yeah? Show humbleness. Yeah, and this was a lecture for life which God gave me in humbleness. Yeah, and these things maybe I'm not so good in learning through reading. So there's a number of these issues where Allah gave me, through the voice of the Khalifa in dream, a lecture. This is not good. Huh? You can do it once a day, but you're not 10 times a day or something like this. Huh? So Allah is an active part in your life. And this is what I experienced when I came into the Jamaat. I met boys, girls, elders, yeah, youngsters. They were talking about God like he's their grandfather or something like this. They're part of family, yeah? Not something in the sky. And this is what I was gaining for. Huh?
So in Catholicism, God was something distant, and this is
big distance.
Yeah, and in Islam, is God is immediate, is there, is living.
Yeah.
So that's what actually drew you.
These churches, these cathedrals, you are very small. You're nothing. Yeah. And I remember when these school classes come in the mosque, they say, it's look like in our sitting room. There's a carpet, they feel easy, they feel comfortable. God shows a totally different picture of the Creator. Yeah? Far away, but very close as well.
Yeah.
So, another question I wanted to ask you, respected Abdullah Agasalza, is that why does Islam place emphasis on knowing Allah as the foundation of faith and love for Him? So, why does Islam give so much emphasis in knowing Allah first and foremost than any other religion?
Because this is the source of everything. This is the beginning and the end. I mean, the problem is other things I created through humans. I remember I was lucky when I came then to Germany, back to Germany. I had a missionary, Mansur Khan Sahib. Yeah? He was a very scholarly and open-minded person. So in the first lecture he gave me, he said, don't stick too much to people. Yeah? Because people could you could be
betray you, or
or you could
might be heard from them,
or think that they're more than they are. Yeah. So get always the Bestätigung, get always the confirmation from God Himself. Yeah. Pray, and God will tell you whether you are on the right path. Yeah. But if you stick too much to certain people or to groups, they can go wrong, and then you will be frustrated, and you will put things to religion. And this, I think, is very important, that one should learn from the beginning that there is a living God and you have the possibility to have communication.
So have a direct relationship with God.
Yes, and this is what's taught by all the prophets, I mean, in a way. Yeah.
And if I may add on to that, Amir Saab, is that we've explored how important it is to find God and get closer to Him. But what about some of the steps? If you can answer this question as well, what are some of the steps to reach His nearness?
I mean, there Islam is very clear and crystal clear, you can say. You have the 5 daily prayer. Yeah? The 5 day prayer, it's like a construction for the day. Yeah? And it takes years sometimes, to get to this point. You know that this construction, these 5 daily prayers, before the sun rises and after the sun has risen in the night, this is your construct for the day, and this is the main issue for you. Yeah. If you know, for example, I always think nowadays that I know where I pray my Zohar, I know where I pray my Asr, I know where I pray my Maghrib. Yeah. But there were times, I was going to work and I was standing in the traffic jam, and I could not join the prayer, because to join prayer in congregation is something very important for men. Yeah? I mean, it is said 27 times more blessings, but it is a symbol, a symbolic number. Yeah. So I mean, if you have this construction of 5 daily prayers, and put other things in between, and not the other way around. Yeah? Most of the people, if they are saying 5 prayers, they have their workflow, and they switch the prayer in between, and it's not working. Yeah, it only works the other way around. And this is a big lecture to learn this in life. Which takes centuries. And
so you make God the center of your life, of your daily life, and everything then revolves around that.
Actually, it's logic,
Yes.
Because He's the creator of everything. So He is, and He should be. Yeah,
very interesting.
Absolutely.
And then we have all these other extraordinary du'as, and not to talk about Khalafat.
Yes, absolutely. And you've beautifully put it that sometimes our thinking is just completely wrong. Rather than focusing on our work and prayer comes secondary, the prayer needs to be first, and you need to prioritize your work life around that.
Yosef, we have so many stories around us from our other Ahmadi brothers and sisters, how they got a job, how they received this blessing or that blessing. Yeah, if they are in this modum where they are in connection with God Almighty, they receive the signs. Yeah, but if you are in your own, and this is nowadays a problem, that more and more people move towards the material issues, and this weakens us.
And I certainly think that during the COVID pandemic, people really felt that a lot of people were they could not pray in congregation, and in the solitude they were just praying all of the 5 daily prayers. But when we finally got to join shoulder to shoulder and pray, this was a completely different. You can.
We were on a trip with to Switzerland. And we went in the house of this martyr. This is the Swiss guy who died on the Mount Everest. Yeah, and we visited his house and his family. And he was a really amazing person. He had his own prayer room. We were 20 people, and we had not prayed for long in congregation. So we said, now here we will pray together. Yeah? And it was overwhelming. Yeah? I mean, we were feeling like a body, like a unit, yeah. Not only the rope of Allah, more it was like we are one human arrangement, you can say.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the Jalsa Salana, it brings together tens of thousands of people from across the world. How does the spiritual environment of this convention help strengthen one's love for Allah?
It is, I mean, for human beings, it's very important to have this get together. I mean, with you, I mean, in marriage, in the family, and then in greater arrangements. This dynamic starts in this getting together. But prayer is something, I mean, outstanding, yeah? And if you have prayed once in a gathering of 45,000 people, and then somebody says then Allah Akbar, and the takbir is then done, and then there is pin drop silence, in seconds. Yeah, who can do this? Yeah, you can do it only through prayer. Yeah? And then if you are concentrated, then with shoulder to shoulder, it is an experience. Yeah. I would not say it's a drug, but it is something so. Many converts or people who are on the way to get clearance, in Jalsa Salana they experience so many issues, where God shows them you are on the right path, and it is prayer and it is the smile of the people around you, because everybody is getting into this mood, Police is always saying, I mean, we had no casualties, it's for us unbelievable, when 45,000 people come. The new Jalsa guy in Germany, Mendig, there's normally rock at the ring, and they say, I mean, they're always fighting, big issues, cases, and there's rubbish everywhere. I mean, they cannot understand that we live peacefully there. With 50,000 people.
And we manage everything. We manage everything,
I think this is, I mean, where we see how an Islamic society could be, if everything is all right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we take over the paradise now.
And Mirza, we talked about the 5 daily prayers, and you gave the emphasis on that as well, but what about the night prayer? If you could tell us a bit about the tahajjud prayer as well.
This is something very, very important that in Jamaat, in our community, we have a guidance spiritually how you can improve yourself. There are many possibilities to improve yourself. There are special du'as which you can start. There's a special style in life, how you can improve. But to deepen your prayer, you need to be alone. What you experience when you run, you are alone, then you can. I start always the first 30 minutes. I do prayer, dua, and then I let my mind run. And then I experience new things. And get good new ideas. But the most, elevated prayer is when you get up in the night and, for some people it's stupid to get up in the night when you are in deep sleep, make wuzu and wash yourself, get clear, and then bow down in front of Allah and pray your 8 rakats in the end when you can do this. First of all, it is very important to get into this habit, to do it. But tahajjud prayer is not an easy issue, because you have to have a program. I used sometimes in the beginning, just to start praying, and in the end I did not know what I had prayed. So then I started, putting certain, Hazur is saying, for example, we should pray for this, we should pray for that. Then, of course, you have your wife, you have, your elders, you have your sickness, which personally or for others, the political situation, So you have to make, an organized prayer in a way. But it gives you, if you have once done it into the right mood, then you will get relief during this the certain parts, yeah, and sometimes you will be lost in it, yeah. But I tell you, Tahajjud remains, at least for me, difficult, yeah, because there's always the fear that you move into a routine, yeah. And nowadays, for example, I'm a bit in stress, you know, and the days are long, the nights are very short, yeah, and you come to bed at 12:30, and you have to get up for Tahajjud at 2:30 or 3.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's really tough.
It's
yeah?
very tough, yeah.
So I move, of course, up and down, and but it is the one which gives you this move to.
It is the boost you need.
What do you say? The people say you get next level or something like this. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But it's a hard work. Yeah? It is not an easy task. Yeah? I mean, yeah, people sometimes say, I mean, you need not to organize. Yes, you have to organize yourself. Yeah, you have to make a plan. You have to see where you are and things like this.
Does it become too mechanical?
It should not. This is always a danger. The danger is there, and therefore you should have a certain plan, and you should. I mean, second Khalifa learned us that at least once a day you have to be totally alone, and you have to recheck your situation where you are standing. Yeah, and still you have to do it. Yeah, I mean, it's a lifelong struggle.
Right.
So we're just approaching the 8 o'clock news, and after the 8 o'clock news,
because news is always dangerous now.
So we'll be back shortly after the 8 o'clock news. But yeah, if do benefit from our social handles as well, which is Voice of Islam UK, and you can catch all the latest on our website as well on www.voiceofislam.co.uk. So I'm really enjoying this conversation with the president of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community in Germany. So we will be back shortly after the 8 o'clock news.
Muhammad, Muhammad, Muhammadur Rasulullah, 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 Muhammadur Rasulullah. يا قلبي يذكر أحمدا أين الهدى مفني العدا برا كريما محسنا ظهر العطايا والجدا يا قلبي يذكر أحمدا أين الهدى مفني العدا برا كريما محسنا بحر العطايا والجدا محمد 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 رسول الله رسول الله رسول الله محمد رسول الله يا رب صل على نبيك دائما في هذه الدنيا وباس ثاني يا رب صل على نبيك دائما في هذه الدنيا وبعث ثاني محمد 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 رسول الله رسول الله رسول الله محمد رسول الله صلي على
This is Voice of Islam Radio, your spiritual companion throughout Jalsa Salana UK 2026. Experience the power of unity. Hear inspiring speeches and feel the global brotherhood as we bring you live coverage from the Jalsa site. Whether you're near or far, let the message of peace, faith, and love uplift your soul. You're listening to the live Jalsa broadcast only on Voice of Islam Radio. Stay tuned. Stay inspired.
Muhammad, Muhammad, Muhammadur Rasulullah, 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 Muhammadur Rasulullah. Salli ala Rahimina, ala Muhammadin, Salli ala Kareem.
You're listening to Voice of Islam Radio, broadcasting live from the annual convention of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community UK from Hadeeqatul, Mahdi. Stay tuned for an inspiring experience over the next 3 days here at Voice of Islam Radio.
Salli ala Kareemina, Salli ala Muhammadin. Muhammad, Muhammad, Muhammadur Rasulullah, Rasulullah, Rasulullah.
This is Voice of Islam Radio, coming to you live from the blessed grounds of Hadeeqatul Mahdi, the home of Jalsa Salana, the annual convention of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community in the UK. Join us for spiritual reflections, inspiring speeches, and the true spirit of peace and unity. Stay with us for a live Jalsa coverage all day long.
Muhammadur Rasulullah, Rasulullah, Rasulullah.
Celebrating 10 years of spreading the true teachings of Islam. Broadcasting live from the blessed grounds of Hadeeqatul Mahdi in Hampshire, the home of Jalsa Salana. On Voice, the voice of Islam.
برا كريما محسنا ظهر العطايا والجدال يا قلبي
This is Voice of Islam Radio, coming to you live from the blessed grounds of Hadeeqatul Mahdi, the home of Jalsa Salana, the annual convention of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community in the UK. Join us for spiritual reflections, inspiring speeches, and the true spirit of peace and unity. Stay with us for a live Jalsa coverage all day long.
Rasulullah, 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 Muhammadur Rasulullah. Ya Rabbi salli ala nabiyyika daiman fi hadhihi dunya.
And it was a very good, we were very much building up on the concept of God and how to reach God. So, and we also looked at the annual convention, how in these gatherings, it's not a purpose of we're wasting time. It's very organized. People are focused towards remembering their creator. There's a huge purpose towards it. And I should mention that this was something which was initiated by the promised Messiah himself. The early days, how he sometimes would even give from his own personal pocket just to look after the guests that would be coming to see him at that time. What are your some early memories of Qadian, going into the homeland of the promised Messiah himself? What was your experience like? And if I could add, experiencing God at that time, what was your feelings of finding God in Qadian?
Yeah, I'm a baby of the Jalsa Qadian, you can say, because it's a long story, but I reached to the Jalsa to Qadian and not knowing anything about it on the first day of Jalsa Salana. I was dropped in front of Qadian, in front of Masjid Mubarak. I was wearing at that time a pagri, yeah, and looking like a Pathan. At that time, there were no Pathan known so much, yeah, and looking for truth, yeah, and reached in front of Masum Mubarak. And somebody said to me, asked me, I mean, who you are, what you want here. I said, I'm looking for Maitreya Buddha. Yeah? And then I went into the Jalsa Salana. Yeah? I received my small camera, yeah, where I had my bed and my table and my chair, and I was alone, and I had a guidance. Brother Hadeeqatul was there, you know, and we were knowing us before. During hippie times, we had some meetings with each other, but he published in my newspaper some poems. So I was not fascinated by Islam at that time. Yeah, so he said, "You know where you have reached," and then we started communicating and. Yeah, God showed me dreams, you know. I was comforted always. I mean, by God Almighty. Even nowadays, I've recently felt it. You're talking about news and what happens in this world nowadays. You get frustrated. Sometimes you get fear. Yeah. Then Allah shows you a dream, you know, where you're underwater and where you feel safe and you can start again working in a proper way. Yeah. Or Hazur, our Khalifa, gives in a lecture some explanation and gives satisfaction to our heart. So Jalsa Salana at that time, you know, there is one example which was not clearing me so much about Islam, that they suppress women. Yeah, this is obviously the enormous issue. Yeah. And I remember we went in this Jalsa, yeah. There's straw, and all the people sit on the ground, calm and quiet. You know, they're not listening one speech, 3 speeches. You know, without any disturbance. Their mind is fully focused on this Jalsa, on this. I did not know anything Urdu. Yeah, I could not understand. So Brother Dalla told me, make dua. Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, Allah Akbar. And that was the start. And then suddenly a small girl, maybe 7, 8 years, you know, in a nice, you know, dress, you know, came in this gathering like a butterfly, yeah, and all the focus was on this small girl, yeah, and I said, now you know why men and women are sitting separate. you see our gatherings, you know, surrounded by beautiful ladies, you know, dressed in a nice way and focused on the other sex. It was so clear, this picture, yeah. And so for me, the matter was solved. Yeah? I mean, so you get all these lectures, you know, I mean, in these gatherings.
So there's always lessons with that. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
You mentioned Hazur, and we're blessed with this spiritual leadership in the community, the Khilafat. How important do you think it is to remain attached and to the Khalifa?
I think this is the beginning and the end, because if you have a spiritual leadership, and this real spiritual leadership I have seen only in Islam Ahmadiyya. Yeah, I travel now around a lot, and wherever you go, you find the same beliefs. You find the same atmosphere. You know, people have the same concept of Allah. Yeah, of course we say, I mean, this is the belief of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, you know, his concept. But we see that Ahmadis all over the world, they have an understanding of the concept of God Almighty, of the prophets, of different religions. You know, the basics are the same, and they have an attachment to the Khalifa, which is something amazing because it's a personal attachment. Yeah. Nearly every Ahmadi has a personal experience with Khalifa, and this is with millions of Ahmadis not so much. I mean, how you can understand this if you're not in it, yeah? But we have seen this, yeah. Of course, you know, I went then from Qadian after embracing. I went to the to Rabwa, and I met a third Khalifa. May I be pleased with him. And Brother Dadla, he presented me as his token, and he told me this. He said he's coming from the capital of Germany, and Hazur said, "Yeah, it's a good sign." So he calmed him down, and from that moment on, you had a personal attachment to the Khalifa, And I remember a few years later, then it was after the demise of his wife. I was in Rabba, and then on the way back he had a very Leica camera. He was fond of cameras, and these days. So he presented it to me. He gave it to me. He said, "Bring it to Germany for repair." So he took it on my hand. You know how I went in the airplane here. So, this Khilafat is something, even I had this experience in last Jalsa Salana, we received the message, Hazur is not coming. And it was a breakdown, by many of us. And then Hazur greeted us in the Jummah prayer. And everybody was getting mad. And we experienced, and the next year, a lady came. She wanted to meet a press reporter. She wanted to meet Hazur, and she's making a story on Islam Ahmadiyya and things like this. And then she realized he's not coming. So she was frustrated. I came here. And then she wrote in her day something like this she has never experienced. This was so much, love between the Khalifa and the community, and he was even not there. And she said, this was for me amazing, and she understood that there's something behind which is beyond normal human understanding. That even the Khalifa is not present, but he is so close in all the proceedings that there is no distance of air.
So why is it
Time
important
traveling.
to have that? Why do you think it's important for an individual to have that link?
This is, I think, the concept of prophethood. The prophet is it is said that 124,000 prophets came from Adam to the time of the Holy Prophet Muhammad. So every human being had a chance to get this direct link, that there's somebody who has this link with God. He has experienced something and he can give it to you. And in Islam Ahmadiyyat we find it, that through the promised Messiah, Islam, foretold by the Holy Prophet Muhammad, there is somebody on earth, who has the same, who has most love to this. We say the perfect human is the Holy Prophet Muhammad, and he has foretold the promised Messiah for the later days, when the world is, I would say, not united, but united through electronic concepts and things like this, and you can reach, in one moment the whole earth. You can say this was never possible before. When the Khalifa was giving a statement in the time of Hazrat Umar, it took sometimes a year to reach to his people. And nowadays we have every Friday a live khutbah. And this is now possible to unite humanity again, if they follow the right path. I think this is something you have not seen it somewhere else in the same way. They try it, with their. I know one son of Brother Dadla, he has made once a magazine there. He focused it on this singer, this dancer who is he passed away, world famous. So he is presented like a messiah, in a way. And you have this concept, sometimes a sportsman is presented, Messi is presented like a messiah, but he cannot join people, he can touch people through media, but he cannot join them spiritually, and this we find only in Khilafat,
Absolutely. Respected Abdullah Waqas, unfortunately, we'd love to continue this conversation, and we literally just tipped the top of the iceberg when we touched the topic of Khilafat, and maybe inshallah next time we can discuss this further, but unfortunately this is all we have time for. So thank you so much once again from the Voice of Islam team for taking your time out and joining us here at the Voice of Islam studio. So we're just going to be taking a short break, and after the short break we'll be having our next guest on, so don't go anywhere.
Rasulullah, Rasulullah.
Islam Radio, broadcasting live from the annual convention of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community UK from Hadeeqatul, Mahdi. Stay tuned for an inspiring experience over the next 3 days here at Voice of Islam Radio.
Salamu, salamu, salamu. Allahu Akbar. Salamu alaikum ya jama. Salamu alaikum ya jama.
जलसाए सालाना के सामान के
From the heart of Hadeeqatul Mahdi, this is Voice of Islam Radio, your spiritual companion throughout Jalsa Salana UK 2026. Experience the power of unity, hear inspiring speeches, and feel the global brotherhood as we bring you live coverage from the Jalsa site. Whether you're near or far, let the message of peace, faith, and love uplift your soul. You're listening to the live Jalsa broadcast only on Voice of Islam Radio. Stay tuned, stay inspired.
है शब रोज हर शख्स से इज़हार
Alaikum ya jama. Assalamu alaikum. Salamu, salamu.
You're listening to Voice of Islam Radio, broadcasting live from the annual convention of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community UK from Hadeeqatul, Mahdi. Stay tuned for an inspiring experience over the next 3 days here at Voice of Islam Radio.
Salamu, salamu, salamu. Allahu Akbar. Salamu alaikum ya jama. Salamu alaikum ya jama.
يا من غدا في نوره وضيائه.
You're listening to Voice of Islam Radio, broadcasting live from the annual convention of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community UK from Hadeeqatul, Mahdi. Stay tuned for an inspiring experience over the next 3 days here at Voice of Islam Radio.
أهدى الهداة وأشجع الشجعان.
Auzu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. We are running a bit behind schedule this morning, Brother Walid. Up next we have Arfa Khan, and she is a journalist whose work spans digital journalism, radio production, community storytelling. Assalamu alaikum, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Can you tell us, how has attending the annual convention of the Jalsa Salana over the years strengthened your understanding and love of Allah?
Thank you for that question. So if you go back a few years, a lot of people might agree, a lot of people who attend, that as a child, Jalsa was something that you look forward to because of the atmosphere and being surrounded by the community. But of course, as you grow older, you understand things from a different perspective and you appreciate it on a much deeper level. So when you do work during the day, people from all kind of careers are surrounded by fast-moving deadlines, different perspectives, and sort of sometimes tough situations. But fortunately, when you have Jalsa once a year, it gives you the opportunity to step away from that fast-paced and busy life and kind of reflect on more important things, listening to important speeches, receiving good reminders, and praying amongst thousands of people. And you really get to appreciate the spirit of volunteering outside a professional setting. And you sort of, because a lot of people who volunteer are doing things which are really opposite from their career. So that really helps people to bond at a deeper level, to appreciate smaller things of life, and you sort of realize the importance of supporting each other.
Really, and in a world increasingly dominated by materialism and distraction, why do you think it is important to develop a relationship with Allah?
That's a very good question. So, similar to what just the Amir of Germany said just a few minutes ago, we live in a world that we are constantly connected with, but we also feel disconnected internally. Certainly, we have social media, careers, and success have all their own place, but relationship with God Himself is important because it provides us perspective. It reminds me that our worth isn't defined by achievements, approval, or different circumstances, but it really encourages us to stay honest, compassionate, and with humility, even when no one is watching.
Wonderful, thank you so much for that. And has there been a particular moment or experience at the annual convention that has changed the way you view your relationship with Allah?
About the because obviously this is the 60th convention, so every year we have different sort of themes, we have different speeches, but you might agree with me, what does stay constant is the silent prayer among thousands of people, the 5 times prayers and the silent prayer we have at the end of a session, because you know, as you know that over the years the scale of the event has changed, and maybe locations can change, but prayer, the silent prayer and the 5 prayer always stays constant, and that makes it quite personal. Then it always reminds us that every individual has a relationship with God, and that's going to stay constant in all kinds of circumstances, whether it's a small event, whether it's a big event, whether it's with many people, whether it's with less people. And then seeing people from all kinds of countries, cultures, and backgrounds united by the same faith also reinforces that religion transcends nationality and ethnicity. And moments that faith is about sincerity, humility, and trying to become a better person.
The Jalsa Salana is a very spiritual experience. I mean, how do you think that we can retain the benefits and the lessons of this spiritual experience?
I think something that's really important after at the end of these 3 days is that we need to set ourselves like everyday reminders, sort of think, what can I pick up from it that I can use regularly? Because I think from a religious perspective and from a lifestyle perspective, positive consistency matters a lot. So practically that means taking time for daily prayers, reflecting on the guidances from speeches, such as very simple things like, you know, improving sort of etiquette towards other people, managing our time better, try to give more to charity. Those everyday values, you know, if you stay, you know, positively consistent with them in the long term, they make a good difference.
Mm.
And of course, Jalsa reminds me that spirituality isn't separate from everyday life, but it is a part of it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Arfa Khan, for joining us this morning and really sharing your thoughts on that subject. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah.
Awesome.
So, you know, we now looking at the aspect of living a life cultivated by love for Allah, and you know, we've discussed in detail the importance of knowing Allah through His attributes and how this is what cultivates true love of Allah in the heart of a believer. The second aspect now to this is the focus on how we can implement this into our daily lives. Love for Allah and our religion is not a separate compartment of our life, distinct from work, hobbies, and everyday routine. Rather, a love for Allah should permeate our every action and thought, such as that anyone observing our life from the outside can clearly see that our motives are not worldly, but instead out of love and administration of Allah. Furthermore, in this segment, we'll talk to some special guests about how attending Jalsa gathering, has grown peace and solace in their hearts. One guest that I did interview was Haley Rose, and she joined us all the way from Canada. So she attended a couple of years back. So let's listen in what she has to say. So we have with us today at the Voice of Islam radio station, Miss Haley Rose, and you're a youth leader in the indigenous community and formerly served as the youth chief for FSIN. Thank you for joining us today at the Voice of Islam radio station.
Thanks for allowing me to join.
Thank you so much. Now, what's wonderful is that you've joined our annual convention previously as well, a couple of years back, and we saw the whole group that came and absolutely loved it. But to start off, if you could tell us a bit about your work, how you support and empower young people in your community.
Yeah, for sure. I have been doing leadership and working in politics for just over 8 years now. I started when I was quite young. When I was in high school, I had already, found my community. And at that time, there was a lot of mental health supports needed. And that's kind of where it all began for me, was with mental health. And then it continued with our education and then with our justice. And when I got elected as youth chief in 2021, that really set the stage for politics for me, and, advocating for our treaty and inherent rights for all our First Nations across Turtle Island.
Wonderful. It was wonderful to have yourself and your team come to the annual convention as well. What were your first impressions when you arrived at the Jalsa Salana?
Yeah, I had no idea what I was going to walk into. I had already some amazing friends from the Muslim community here in Saskatoon. And, they generously invited us out there and we felt like family. I remember when I first walked into the convention, it felt like a big powwow for me, just with all the people, the culture, the different regalia, like what they were wearing was absolutely beautiful. And it actually made me feel at home, to see families all across the world come together and celebrate and pray together was really inspiring. And it was really beautiful to see, especially the young people that were there, that were so rich in their language and, with their own identity. It was, something that I brought close to my heart, for what we want for First Nations people.
Absolutely. And what part of the annual convention stood out for you the most, and how was your meeting with His Holiness? I know that was something which was very emotional for you as well. After listening to the interview, you looked as if, you were taken back. So tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, it was a really beautiful and sacred space. I had never been to something like it before, and I know it was quite the privilege to, be in the holiness's space as well, and to be able to meet him. When I was in that room, I had a chance to ask him a question as, a young leader and as a young person. I'm always curious, what I can do for my own people. And, I'm always willing to learn from others. And so I asked him, how do how does your community keep, your culture so rich and so alive? Because for ours, we're losing it every day. And we have so many people that are struggling. Our people are struggling with addictions and homelessness, and our youth are struggling too. And he responded, he said, your language. If you don't have your language, then your people will be lost people. And I remember he specifically said that, and I took that home with me. And, I was very glad that when I had gone to the convention as well, that everybody was just so kind and loving. And one of the things that really stood out to me was when we were all praying there in the big building, we all held hands, and you could feel the energy, the vibrations that were rolling off of one another. And it felt like home for me. It felt like, I wish more people could experience that from, my community and where I come from. So I was very honored to be there.
Yeah, tell us a bit about some of the work that you're doing as an Indigenous youth leader.
Yeah, so after I got out of my position as youth chief of the Federation of Sovereign Indigenous Nations, I continue to really go back to my roots, doing a lot of ceremony and offering cultural programs within community. I developed many programs, youth programs for our young people to basically balance their medicine wheels so that, they could live a good life by nourishing their physical, emotional, spiritual, and mental well-being. And so I continue to, attend ceremonies with our young people, bring that to our communities. And I've also had the privilege to be able to work all across Canada and offer consulting. So I've also been doing that as well.
Absolutely wonderful. It's very busy. And how do you think events like Jalsa Salana can help build understanding and strengthen relationships between different communities?
Yeah, I think that the resilience of, your people is something that, could reflect on all of us, the power of coming together as one and reuniting the way that you do, to be united in the way that convention is truly remarkable. I, had never seen something like it. And I think in today's society and in today's, day and age, we see this separation from, Canadians, First Nations people and the settlers. And we talk so often about reconciliation, and what that can look like and what that should look like, with all these people, all these settlers that we do live with now. And I think we can learn, from one another and from each other that, when we're together, when we're inviting to learning about one another's culture and one another's morals and values and understanding, your history, I think it gives us a better way for us to want to learn and grow as one to a better, more prosperous future. And so, yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much for that. And after attending the Jalsa Salana, what message of peace, unity, or hope would you like to share with others?
Let me take it back. It was a few years ago. But one of the things that I took away from it and, for the future is that there is hope. There's always hope, that we have so much to look forward to. in that space, I saw a lot of, older people that, are healing and doing so much for themselves so that they can be a better individual. And the kids and the younger people, that are in that space see that and learn from that. And, they're the leaders and they're the ones that are going to continue to bring so much light and love to this world. And so to see such healthy and, strong individuals, resilient individuals is inspiring, for everyone. And I think there's hope for the future that these little ones that are coming and these babies and these young kids that are learning from, their parents and their families it's, a positive thing for our future. And we have so much to look forward to when, they're so proud of where they come from and have all those good teachings.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing is, we try to teach from a young age. A lot of the members just try to get them involved. And you probably saw from through the smallest things like the youngsters giving water to the elderly.
Yes.
So just get them started from a young age and, try to keep them attached to the community, really. So thank you so much for your kind words. I thought it was lovely having you on, and you've shared some very memorable memories of Jalsa as well. So thank you so much, Hailey.
Yes, of course. Well, again, it was a privilege and honor to be there, and I would love to attend again in the future. And, I hope more First Nations people get to experience that as well, because it was absolutely beautiful.
Thank you so much, Hailey. You're the youth leader in the Indigenous community and formerly served as the youth chief for the FSI. And thanks so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Hailey. So we're just going to play that.
So that was Hailey Rose. You probably remember, Brother Walid, that a couple of years back we had the indigenous population, indigenous people of Canada that came.
Mhm.
They came last year as well, but specifically Hailey Rose, she came a couple of years back. And
A large group? Was it a large group of?
it was a small group, but they also had an audience with His Holiness as well. And she was very inspired, and one thing she mentioned is that how does the community continue to keep tight to the values. And Her Holiness said that make sure that your language is attached, people remain intact to your language. So that was what she mentioned in that as well. So up next we have with us Susie Webb. And Susie Webb is a high-profile, experienced non-executive board member with excellent community links. She is a keen networker among diverse groups, relying on expert listening skills and powerful institution to guide decision making. Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Oh, thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much. So Susie, you've been to our annual convention, Jalsa Salana, before as well. So when you first arrived at the annual convention, what were your first impressions?
Well, just how massive it was, and how many people were there. It was wonderful. It was. Well, I never knew that something that big was ever happening, and I'm so happy to have been invited.
Susie, can you tell us what your what your impressions were of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community?
The ambience was lovely because what you may not have mentioned, but I am very involved in interfaith stuff. I don't care what your religion is, which way you worship God, because I believe in one God for all of us. But what matters is how you care for your fellow man. In most religions, it says, love thy neighbor, not love thy Christian, Jewish, Muslim neighbor. Love thy neighbor. And I think the Ahmadiyya community, from the moment you meet them, you're welcome like family, and everyone is so kind and attentive. And it goes throughout, even your young people. I can't tell you how impressed I am with the way your young people conduct themselves. Shall I carry on with that?
Please.
Yes, I remember a couple of years ago going to a Jalsa, and I went into a tent to listen to something, and I'd only just sat down. It was a hot day. I'd only just sat down. Before I could take a breath, there was your young people. He came up to me, can I get you something to drink? So attentive and courteous and willing, but also they looked happy doing what they were doing, as though being kind to people is indeed a privilege. And I felt privileged to be there.
What about the participants, the ordinary participants? Was there anything, any conversation that you had with them that has stayed with you afterwards, that have become particularly memorable?
Well, I think with Ahmadiyya, it's not one thing, it's their whole way, or your whole way, of living. It's all-encompassing. It's not one specific thing. Every conversation is someone is interested in what you're thinking, what you have to say, and also interested in, do you need anything? Is there anything I can do for you? And your motto, love for all, hatred for none, it is absolutely spot on, because that's what I feel the Ahmadiyya community live. They don't just say it, they live it.
And after attending the annual convention, what reflections or insights did you take away?
Well, I took away that I'm very glad that I ever made contact with the Ahmadiyya community, and that in the future I hope to retain all my links and contacts. I attend iftars and symposiums at your mosque as well, and always very interesting. But I just feel part of the family, even though I'm a Christian. I just feel welcome, and I don't know, I relax and closer to God, because that's what God wants from us. That's what he requires of us. Love thy neighbor, all of us, and you do it.
Did anything challenge your expectations or assumptions about the event or the community?
Absolutely nothing. And that again is another surprise, because one goes to many things and events, and I go to mosques, synagogues, churches, Gurdwara, and everyone is very nice. But Ahmadiyyas are always nice. When I say nice, I don't mean it in a prissy way, but as though you are one of them, even though I may not be Ahmadiyya, I'm treated as one of the family, if you like. And there aren't too many religions that are that loving. You know, I'm a Christian, and we have people who we call Sunday Christians. They may go to church, they may pray, but if they walked out onto the street and somebody needed their help, they may not necessarily bother to help them. But I'm absolutely convinced if the Ahmadiyya were in the same position, they would absolutely help them. They're not just Sunday Christians, they're every day of the week, every hour of the day, Ahmadiyya Muslims. And it's a credit to you all. And I'm thankful to God that the Ahmadiyyas are there.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing that insight. And I wish you all the best. Thank you for coming on.
And if there's ever anything I can do to help, please, because I would be privileged. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So that was Susie Webb who joined us just now. So I mean, it's wonderful, Brother Walid. You know, when we do hear the comments of guests as well that come and see Jalsa Salana, you know how much captivated they are by the whole atmosphere Jalsa actually gives to them. And you know, I every year I see more and more guests now attending Jalsa Salana. So it's quite wonderful. You know that.
So is your phone ringing? Somebody's phone is ringing. Anyway, but I think that the remarkable thing about the Jalsa is the distinctiveness, the fact that it is a very peaceful event, it is a very well organized event, very well disciplined throughout, and it's in sharp contrast to some of the big events that we come across. I'm particularly thinking about the musical events that take place, like Glastonbury or Woodstock, that are very much rife with all kinds of difficulties, particularly when it comes to drugs and stuff like that. There's nothing of that nature in this. It's an event that is found to be truly uplifting, not only by the members of the community, but also, as we've been discussing, many of the guests that come and attend this event. So it is a very, very unique and a distinctive event, and I think it's one can only, I suppose, admire and value the blessings that have been brought down to us through the promised Messiah, in whose lifetime this particular event was first enacted. So it's a wonderful experience.
Absolutely. And next we do have a guest who will be listening to, and this is respected Hadeeqatul Mohsin Abid, who is the member of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. Assalamu alaikum. How are you doing, Hadeeqatul Mohsin, this morning?
Assalamu alaikum. May peace and mercy of Allah be upon you. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
We're doing very well, thank you. I hope you're enjoying yourself. Must be very busy out there. I guess you are probably doing duty at the moment, or you're going to do that later on today.
No, we are operational since it's 24 hours. So I've been here since 5:30 in the morning. So it's full on right now.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Tell us how it's going. Tell us a bit about what you're doing this year at Jalsa Salana and how things are running.
Yeah, so I'm one of the Naib officers, Khidmat Khalq, and we are responsible for, Khidmat Khalq is responsible for traffic, the security, and general well-being of the members who are attending Jalsa Salana. So I oversee all the car parks and traffic leading to Jalsa Salana. So Alhamdulillah, by the grace and mercy of Allah, it's going well. We had the inauguration yesterday, and it's fair to say that it was the busiest inauguration since its inception of Jalsa Salana.
Yeah.
A lot of members of Jamaat who has actually come and stayed on site. So Alhamdulillah, it's busy. It's very busy already.
Yeah, there's a lot more private tents now as well this year. The space is a lot bigger. I think people have really opted to getting a tent. I just spoke to them last night. They're fully booked, Brother Walid.
Did you?
Really?
Absolutely, and I think it's one of the most important things that we've seen recent years.
Yeah.
That people are opting to pitch up their own tents or hire the tents from. So funnily enough, you mentioned last night we were in discussions with the administration, and they mentioned that they have to extend their area even further because already not only they're already fully booked. Private people who are bringing their own tents, they've consumed all the space that they had as well.
Wow.
So they have to open more spaces for private tents, inshallah.
Inshallah. And I mean, Hibatul Mohsin, you're quite busy with the duties as well, and I know a lot of the boys that are on site, they're voluntary, they're serving, as you said, 24/7 around the clock, to make sure the guests of the promised Messiah, they are well catered for. But I wanted to look at a spiritual side from this as well, that last year, if we can talk about last year's Jalsa Salana, if you can share with us any spiritual uplifting event that took place that stayed with you particularly.
I think I'm going to relate whatever I have witnessed, obviously. The traffic has always been a very, very key issue for us, not only because we want to make sure that attendees of Jalsa are coming in quickly and safely and they're parking cars, but also one of the important aspects or teachings of Islam is the rights of the neighbors.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that the neighbors of Hadeeqatul Mahdi do not get any problems because of us. And the second important teaching of Islam is the right of the way. So, the roads and the tracks which the neighbors use, they have their own rights, so that we're not creating unnecessary congestion, we're not littering, we're making sure that our drivers are people who are coming to site are following the traffic laws, they're driving within speed limits. So alhamdulillah, last year we did a huge campaign around that, just making sure that people understand the rights of the neighbors and rights of the roads, passages. And it's fair to say that last year we had a hugely successful Jalsa Salana. It is down to only mercy of Allah and the prayers of His Holiness. But I think that was very, you said spiritually inspiring for us, because we know that despite of all the plans we have, despite of everything that we have, the volume that we have to deal with, in excess of 10,000 cars that we receive every year, so this year even more, we know that it's not possible. So for me, the takeaway from that is only through Allah's mercy, because there was 3 or 4 times where you see what's coming your way, the data from the roads that are leading to Hadeeqatul Mahdi. We get information as well from different agencies.
Yeah.
And we find out it can create a bit of a worry or panic.
Yeah.
But alhamdulillah, it was very, very successful in that regard, that it never materialized. We were able to park cars, we were able to move traffic very, very quickly. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
The Jalsa is supposed to be a very spiritual experience, one that offers spiritual upliftment. Was there any moment where you yourself felt especially close to Allah during Jalsa?
Yes, I think so. Your listeners may have already heard about the international bath that we have, the initiation ceremony, which is led by His Holiness. Every year, because of the duties, we sometimes can't make our ways to the Gah, or we can't leave our posts. Yeah. And as every year, no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, you pause, and people join that ceremony around you as well. And every year, no matter where you are, no matter what you're going through, there's a bit of a momentary pause, if you may, in the whole operation, where everyone, without compromising security, of course, takes part. And that is very, very spiritually uplifting, because that's when you feel, like everything around you is paused. I can't explain the feeling in words probably, but it's only those who experience it. It's a very unique experience. Everything, it's going to sound very dramatic, but everything becomes silent at that time. Everything around you becomes quiet, and it's only that connection that's part of that bath, the initiation that comes to the limelight.
Can you describe, the atmosphere of Jalsa, how it reminds you about Allah's love, mercy, and guidance in your daily life?
I think that's a very key question, because the reason why the Jalsas were started by the founder of the Ahmadiyya community was for members to get together, to come together for the sake of remembering Allah. And I think what you see throughout Jalsa is that purpose, that everyone going towards the same path, everyone is on the same journey, no matter what they're going through their life, no matter what part of their life they are in. But you can see that unity or uniformity in their being at Jalsa. So one thing which every time when you notice in your own teams, yourself or attendees of Jalsa, is that understanding or that purpose why they're at Jalsa. Everything else comes secondary. But as soon as it's prayer time, or as soon as it's the sermons or anything, the key aspect which everyone pivots around is the remembrance of Allah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, respected Hadeeqatul Mohsen Abid, for joining us this morning. It was wonderful to speak with you, and I hope and pray the duties go well as well. How is it looking anyway in terms of, because now the guests are really going to be coming in? What's your thoughts at the moment?
Yeah, it's crunch time now. But the only thing I can say is just pray for us. That despite of our weaknesses and despite of our shortcomings, that Allah covers our shortcomings and weaknesses, and we are able to serve the guests of Promised Messiah.
Ameen. May Allah the Almighty bless yourself and the entire team as well. And honestly, I've seen the young members, the young Qudam, who are serving day and night to serve the guests of the Promised Messiah. So may Allah Ta'ala bless all of you. And thank you for joining us this morning, Brother Hadeeqatul Mohsen. Assalamu alaikum.
Jazakallah. Thank you for having me. Assalamu alaikum.
So with that, Brother Walid, we've reached the end of today's breakfast show. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, to all of the listeners. And as we wrap up this show, we invite you to stay tuned for more exciting episodes and incredible guests in next Monday morning's show, where we will be discussing Jalsa Salana UK preparing the next generation a legacy of faith, unity and service. And that will be on Monday, but I think all of the listeners were going to be tuning in over the weekend for the Jalsa Salana special. With that, I'd like to thank the producer Alia Qureshi and also Sabiha Saif. She was also supporting us on the live show as well. So thank you to both of you. May Allah the Almighty bless you both. And also to the lead producer Nargis Nasir and the team of researchers Lisa Amial, Dania Daud, Alia Rahman, to all of the researchers for their hard work in preparing for this show, and also to the tech team in the background for their hard work, and most importantly to Brother Walid for supporting me this morning. I know it was very difficult coming in this morning.
Yes, a right mission, but accomplished, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. So we do hope that you've enjoyed the show this morning. Until next time, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Muhammadur Rasulullah, 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 Muhammadur Rasulullah. يا قلبي يذكر أحمدا أين الهدى مفن العدا برا كريما محسنا ظهر العطايا والجدا يا قلبي يذكر أحمدا أين الهدى مفن العدا برا كريما محسنا بحر العطايا والجدا محمد 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 رسول الله رسول الله رسول الله محمد رسول الله يا رب رب صل على نبيك دائما في هذه الدنيا وباس ثاني يا رب صل على نبيك دائما في هذه الدنيا وبعث ثاني محمد 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 رسول الله رسول الله رسول الله محمد رسول الله صل على نبينا صل على محمد صل على حبيبنا صل على محمد صل على
Voice of Islam Radio.
Allahu Akbar. Salamu alaikum ya jama. Salamu alaikum ya jama.
This is Voice of Islam Radio, coming to you live from the blessed grounds of Hadeeqatul Mahdi, the home of Jalsa Salana, the annual convention of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community in the UK. Join us for spiritual reflections, inspiring speeches, and the true spirit of peace and unity. Stay with us for a live Jalsa coverage all day long.
From the heart of Hadeeqatul Mahdi, this is Voice of Islam Radio, your spiritual companion throughout Jalsa Salana UK 2026. Experience the power of unity, hear inspiring speeches, and feel the global brotherhood as we bring you live coverage from the Jalsa site. Whether you're near or far, let the message of peace, faith, and love uplift your soul. You're listening to the live Jalsa broadcast only on Voice of Islam Radio. Stay tuned, stay inspired.
يا من غدا في نوره وضيائه.
You're listening to Voice of Islam Radio, broadcasting live from the annual convention of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community UK from Hadeeqatul Mahdi. Stay tuned for an inspiring experience over the next 3 days here at Voice of Islam Radio.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, and welcome back to the site of the 60th annual convention of the United Kingdom Ahmadiyya Muslim community, who are celebrating their 60th annual convention this year from a farm in the Hampshire countryside, where it has been converted into a tent city. My name is Sufyan Faruqi, and you are listening to the Review of Religions program here on the Voice of Islam. And for the next hour, we are going to delve into a little bit about the Review of Religions. Now, the Review of Religions has been around, believe it or not, since 1902. And back in 1902, it was founded by the founder of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, His Holiness Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad of Qadian, who was inspired to reach out to the world. And there was a revelation that was given to him by God, that I shall cause thy message to reach the corners of the world. And one way in which this message reached the corners of the world, particularly here in Europe and in America, was through the Review of Religions. Today, The Review of Religions is an organ and a full platform where we are reaching around the world and around the globe in multiple countries, including America, all the way to Africa, Asia, the Far East, you name it, the Review of Religions is there. Now, joining me shortly, we are looking to get the national coordinator from the Review of Religions on the program, who is actually on his way to this very convention in the Hampshire countryside. And he will talk to us about the Review of Religions in Ghana. And then also we have a member of the core central content team joining us later in the program, who will be talking about some of the stuff that the Review of Religions has been doing recently, and also what the Review of Religions is doing on the site. So each and every year, people who are participating in this annual convention have an opportunity to really engage with the Review of Religions. They put on various exhibitions. So in the past, we have seen exhibitions from the Review of Religions on things such as the Shroud of Turin, where they've had experts come in that are outside of the community and back the idea that the Shroud of Turin is actually the authentic shroud that Jesus' body was wrapped in. And it was a fascinating exhibition that was put on some years ago. And since then, the Review of Religions has continued to do exhibitions at this annual convention, and we will dig into what they're doing this year. But I can tell you last year, they dug into the historic city of Mecca, which is the home and the birthplace of the Prophet of Islam, Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of God be upon him, who brought Islam to this world. And the Quran was revealed to him over a period of 23 years. And it all started in a remote cave in the city of Mecca in Saudi Arabia, where he received revelation. And over the course of the 23 years, half of which was spent in Mecca, 13 years was spent in Mecca, and then he migrated to Medina. But his time in Mecca was spent, and the Review of Religions dug in last year in a special exhibition to this city, bringing to life what this city was like at the time, what it looked like, some of the artifacts, some of the historical points and salient points about this historic city. And it was, again, a wonderful exhibition. But I'm not going to ruin the surprise, and I'm going to let our second guest that we're hoping to have on the program a little bit later on talk to us about what the Review of Religions has in store for us this year here on site, for people who are coming to the site. This convention, the 60th annual convention of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community here in the United Kingdom, has been the home to Review of Religions exhibitions along with other exhibitions, and it's always an amazing sight to see what the Review of Religions does. Of course, you all may be familiar with the magazine, the Review of Religions, which was started, like I said, by the founder of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, His Holiness Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, back in 1902. And it went from that small magazine, not a small magazine when you think it's coming on to 125 years, of course, but from that magazine now, it has gone to other various platforms, including digital platforms. So now there's a digital edition of the magazine that is available for people to subscribe to. And if you go to reviewofreligions.org, and you can subscribe to the digital edition right there on the website. And then if you go to the subscription page, you can also subscribe to the print edition from the website as well. So this is the main way that you subscribe to the physical magazine, which is also available now digitally. And it's a great way to get a drip and drab of content. You know, oftentimes people are overwhelmed when they pick up a big book, but the Review of Religions gives people an opportunity to really digest content on a month-to-month basis. So when you subscribe, you get one issue every month, and in that issue, you get a variety of different articles that you can read through in your own time. And then the next month, you get a brand new edition with new content. So it's a great way to continue that continuous drip of fresh content to enhance your spiritual and intellectual knowledge. And also they cover science and all topics and all walks of life, especially today with all the issues facing our youth, all the contemporary issues that are facing our society, including social media, women's issues, you name it, the Review of Religions has covered it. So with that, it looks like we have Nuruddin Khan, member of the core content team at the headquarters of the Review of Religions, on the line first. So let's bring him on now. Assalamu alaikum, Nuruddin. Are you there?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi. How are you doing? I am here.
Good.
And I hear you loud and clear.
Great. That's great to know. Thank you so much for joining us at this very early hour for most people. But for us as members of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, of course, we are celebrating our 60th annual convention here in the Hampshire countryside. And are you already on site or are you still at home?
Not at home. I am nearby.
You're nearby, so you're
I'll
on
be
the
there
road.
very, very soon, yes. Yes.
So you're on the road.
Yes.
That's
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
That's great. So yeah, before you joined us, and thank you again so much for joining us. I was just trying to talk our audience through kind of the different platforms that the Review of Religions is on. Do you want to mention anything about the various platforms that the Review of Religions has and that it has grown to in recent years?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you did give a good overview already about where the review is at. But our bread and butter is, of course, the print magazine. The print magazine is something that will always remain. That is something that people still cherish to this day, and they always love a good magazine, a physical copy in their hand, something that they can open and go to the pages and flick through and see what the kind of content that they like. It always has that its unique feel. It's not something that can be replicated by digital in the same way that when you have something physically come through to your mail and you open it and you see what content is in there. So the print magazine is the main thing for us, and that's something which, despite all the other projects that we have, whether it's Jalsa, Ijtimas, or going abroad projects that we have, different missions that we're going on, the print magazine is always number one priority. So after that, then even before we get to digital, we have had like a social media presence for quite some time now. YouTube has been very successful. Some of our videos have gone viral, going in the millions. Like we have Muslims, I'm a Muslim, ask me anything. We have the Existence Project videos as well. We have, so we are also present on many of the big platforms for social media. Aside from that, we obviously have the digital platform now. So that is something which, a lot of people have said that, especially here in the West actually, but it's more of a problem in the West where people would like to just read things on the go, but they don't always have the time or the space to carry around a physical edition. So that has now become like, it's just in your pocket now. Any kind of edition that you want to read, you can easily access it now just from it's all at your fingertips, on your phone, on your tablet, on your laptop. And it's an immersive experience where you can see the edition as it is in print, but also you can click on things, you can go on the links, you can easily navigate through and listen to the whole edition as well, which is on the digital edition that you have. I'd also like to mention that, Sufyan, as you know, that the Review of Religions is not just in English. So this is something which, as the Promised Messiah established for the West, for the message of Islam to reach the West and for them to be illuminated by its teachings. So, you know, as you know, in the West, we live in Europe or in America or whatever. We don't just have English as the main language. So, the Review of Religions has also been launched in French and in Spanish and in German. So all these languages, you know, they cater for the needs of the people who do not speak English, perhaps. So we have in a lot of French-speaking countries in Africa. We have obviously German as well, and certain other countries in Europe. And Spanish is also a very big one as well, because in Latin America, around Europe, there's a bunch of the countries where they do speak Spanish. So we are catering to the needs of those people as well.
That's totally amazing, isn't it? And it's just grown and grown. The Review of Religions, what started as a small magazine, and it's amazing to me every time I think about it. It almost gives me goosebumps when you think that the founder of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, His Holiness, the Promised Messiah, as you referred to him, Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad of Qadian, you know, in a remote village in India, started this magazine. Probably a lot of the articles back then were written by hand. And then transferred over to whatever they used at the time. Can you talk to us a little bit about the printing process and the way that works?
Yeah, absolutely. So it takes a lot of planning to manage a print edition, because you've got something in ink. That's it. There's no changes you can make after that. Give the errata, etc. But you know, it takes a lot of thorough work to make sure that a print magazine is ready, and you've stapled out plastered out as many errors as possible. So how it starts is we plan months in advance. There are certain months in the year where we know there's going to be certain events. For example, Ramadan is coming, that's Christmas, that we have Jalsa, we have there's Yom Khilafat, there's Muharram. There's a bunch of festivals, etc., that we do know in advance that we can plan for. And those editions, sometimes we'll make them special editions, or we'll have some content which caters to those subjects. And then there's also like issues that are just happening, contemporary issues that are happening around the world. We have, like, for example, the Iran war right now. What's going on between, you know, America, Israel, Iran, and other countries as well. So we are also, like, for example, even in this upcoming August, the sneak peek here, we talk about how life is for women in Iran. A lot of media outlets portray women as having very few rights. Their rights are stripped of them, and you know, they're oppressed, they're not uplifted, etc. They're kind of held back. But is that the reality? Is that how life really is on the ground? These kind of subjects we're also covering in the upcoming edition. So these contemporary issues are also very important. And then there's always the evergreen kind of subjects that we cover. There's mental health issues that people are facing. People are facing economic issues, and, you know, marital problems, etc. So we have a variety of different aspects that we cover, and to do that, we source it from from lots of different sources. Excuse me. So we have guidance from we have some content which is from the Promised Messiah himself. We have content from the Caliph of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, may Allah be his helper. We have people who write articles on the different subjects, because we have the different sections. We also get them to, the sections also contribute every month or 2 or 3 months, and they have some kind of content ready that we can also prepare. Now, just getting people to write things is one step. The next step is then to review content as well. We have to really thoroughly review whatever articles come our way. We have to make sure it's in line with what the purpose of the review is. Is it in line with the message that we want to get across? Does it cover the kind of bases we need? And are there any we fact check a lot of the work that we do nowadays. As you know, Sufyan said, there's AI, there's the boom of AI. We have to make sure that, you know, there's plagiarism checks in there, there's AI checks going on in there as well, because we don't write our articles with AI like maybe other outlets would do, and we still rely on the human intellect. That is very, very important. So these are some of the processes, and once we have kind of the articles ready, bit by bit we start to get them into the InDesign file. We start to check them as a team as well. So I'll be checking an edition maybe 10 times, 8 to 10 times, 15 times, 20 times sometimes, over and over. We're reading the same thing over and over, adding more things in until we're happy that, you know, this is ready now, and there's no more problems. The design is ready, the images are in properly. We make sure that the images are credited properly. There's a bunch of things you have to think about, because you know, there's copyright issues, there's is this correct? Is this something that we need to that we even need to say? There's a lot of things that we have to think about. Is what value is this to our reader? Why are we saying this? And do we really need to? We have to think about the whys, the whats, and who is this for? That's just a bit of a lowdown as to the whole process behind print. But if there's anything else that you'd like to ask about, then yeah, I'm happy to expand on that as well.
If there is somebody, let's say right now in Cotswold, who's not necessarily a Muslim, doesn't know much about Islam, has tuned into this program right now, the Review of Religions program here on the Voice of Islam, they may be thinking like, this sounds very Islam centric. Is the Review of Religions Islam centric?
So there's as I said in the beginning, so you have to understand that this magazine was primarily established to bring about the true, beautiful teachings of Islam. But it's called the Review of Religions at the same time as well. So what we do is we present the teachings, the beautiful teachings of religions as well, what religions have taught. In every single magazine, you will always find on the first page, you'll see the something called the World Faiths, where we always cover what different religions say about a certain topic, whether it's arrogance or peace or love, friendship, companionship, whatever it is. There's always content about different religions. We have sections, regular features like places of worship, where we look at the churches and synagogues and temples, etc., of different religions, not just of Islam. We have sections where we call issues in focus, where we talk about certain contemporary problems and what different religions say about them as well. But primarily, at the end of the day, we have to also present what Islam teaches about these things as well. You will always have some content which is for people of different religions. We have some even editions which are featured for different religions. For example, there's Islam's message to the Hindu world as well, where we talk about Krishna as well. We talk about the different prophets of God Almighty, and how much love we have for humanity as well. As listeners may be aware, Islam doesn't just preach worshipping God Almighty and fulfilling His rights. It also promotes looking after the rights of human beings, our fellow human beings as well. So we have a message for everybody, and it's not just for Muslims.
That's really great to hear that there's something for everyone in the Review of Religions magazine. Now, I want to get to, and I introduced kind of what the Review of Religions has been doing on the ground here as we are broadcasting live from the Hampshire countryside, and you're in fact on your way, Nuruddin, to the site as we speak. The Review of Religions has held various exhibitions throughout the course of the years, throughout the last God knows how many years, but I'm sure it's been for a very, very long time. Of course, last year you guys had the exhibition on Mecca, which was fantastic, and I believe recently the team took that same exhibition to the annual convention in Canada. So that exhibition was a huge success. We also mentioned briefly about the Shroud of Turin exhibition, but I kept this year's exhibition a surprise, and I would like you to please share now with our audience the fascinating exhibition that the Review of Religions has set up this year at the 2026 annual convention of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community here in the UK, the 60th annual convention.
Excellent. Yeah. So Jazakallah for mentioning the different exhibitions we work on. So this year, the theme of the exhibition is the Islamic Golden Age. It's called the Bridging Worlds. And the Muslim contributions to society and civilization is what we are talking about. So that is something which covers a range of topics, because Islam, multifaceted religion that covers all different aspects of life. We talk about art. We talk about women's rights. We talk about in which the inventions and advancements in science and astronomy, in all different subjects, and how, because the problem is that a lot of people nowadays, if they just listen to what people read and what they write and what they say on the news or on social media, you'll get the idea that this notion that Islam is a backward religion, that it hasn't contributed anything to society. What has it done for us? It's just a backward thing that just takes away the rights of people. It's not like that at all. And we're here to show you that, the contributions of Muslims, especially during the Islamic Golden Age, when the thinkers and the polymaths and the scholars of that time, they were the ones who had illuminated the world with their inventions, with their sciences and the equations, etc. For example, Ibn Haytham, who the father of optics, he paved the way for what we have now. I'm using a phone right now. My phone has a camera, and that is something that wouldn't have been possible without the inventions of faith. And we have people like Ibn Nafis, who was the father of the circulatory pulmonary circulation. He contrary to what the theory telling that this is how the heart works, this is the circulatory system that it has as well, and that was all in line with how they were inspired by the Holy Quran. They were inspired by the teachings of Islam, and that is what drove them towards achieving the kind of achievements that they had in that time. And this is at a time when when the Europe was in the dark ages. They were completely ignorant to all of these the advancements in science, etc. They were at a junction where they were unable to contribute hardly anything to the society at the time in terms of the advancements that the Muslims were doing at the time. And it was because of these advances that like for example, the first ever and the longest ever running university in the world, Al-Qarawiyyin in Fez in Morocco, was by a woman. And Fatima Al-Fihri, she's the one who established that. And it still runs today, that continues to give degrees. So the world was coming to them. That was the hub of the world for advancement, for science, for knowledge. And people would go to these lands to learn more, and they would translate the works and also advance them as well. So there's so much that we have in this exhibition that people can learn from. We have a bunch of artifacts that you wouldn't have seen before. And it's all about the advancement of learning that the Quran teaches and how it changed the world. It's something that cannot be understated. That the Quran is what brought all this about. God Almighty's message of seeking knowledge from the cradle to the grave, and to seek knowledge even if you have to go to China. So there's a bunch of things that we cover in this, and it's going to be a really immersive exhibition. And you have a lot of things that you can see. We have screens, we have artifacts, we have a lot of really informative boards, and we have a lot of art and calligraphy as well. You'll see all that on show in this exhibition. I hope you can still hear me.
Yeah, I can still hear you. Sorry, we're having some mic issues here, it looks like. But yeah, what I was saying was one of your colleagues earlier this morning told me that you guys were here quite late last night. What goes into setting up an exhibition like this? Basically, it's an empty farm, isn't it, that you guys have to set up in? They put up a tent for you, and then inside that, it's a clean canvas, and you guys have to set it up. Talk to us a little bit about the setup process.
Yeah, I mean, my colleague Shazad, Shazad Ahmed, he's very good at liaising with all the bunch of different companies that we have to speak with to get to where we are at the moment as well. Because, for example, we start off with a clean canvas, then we have carpet laid out, and what do we do next? We need some walls, we need some boards, we need some lighting, we need electricity, we need AC. There's a bunch of things they're like the basic things that you need before you can get started on the bread and butter. So after we have all those in place, then there's things which you have to hire as well, like furniture, etc., tinsel barriers. These are all little things that people probably don't think about, but they make the exhibition what it is as well. And then once you've covered these spaces, then you think about the posters that you have to write. There's a lot of information, a lot of research that goes into this, and we try to make it as concise as possible, so that the experience of the people who come for the exhibition is as seamless as possible. As I mentioned, for the print edition as well, we constantly go through this process of reading until we're happy with it. We refine and keep refining and polishing until we're happy with it. The same thing goes with an exhibition as well. A lot of information. We have people from our different teams from around the world who are helping us to prepare these, and we're fact-checking everything, and we're uncovering new information that even we were in the process of learning about these subjects that we're also picking up as well. Then we have to think about the images, the kind of image that will go into that as well, the kind of design. The design is a big aspect of that as well. And we have our main designer for this was Shumail Ahmed as well. I'd like to give him a shout out. He's done a great bringing about. It really makes it come to life. That's what a great design does. And people have commended it. Some people have already started walking into the exhibition. So then we think about all the different artifacts as well. And this month-long process is not something that just happens overnight. There's people in our team who are looking constantly, like, what kind of artifacts would work with this section? What about that section? What can we get hold of? So we have contingency plans, plan A, plan B. We're looking at this and we get that. So the main thing is that when we have an exhibition, then we are trying to bring new things every time, make it fresh, make it look like you've never been to something like this before. And if you have, then this is the new information that we're presenting to you. We have even like there's different things I mentioned about the exhibition, but there's also aspects like the videos that we need to find as well. For example, we have a section on the rejuvenation of this Islamic golden age we've been talking about in this day and age by the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat, Ahmadiyya Muslim community. Then, so we have a lot of artifacts from some memorabilia of Dr. Abdul Salam, who was the first Muslim Nobel Peace Prize winner in physics. So we have things from his home as well, which are very personal items of his that people can come and see, and it's amazing. And it's great to see how the kind of environment that he set up for himself to actually excel in this field and to think about, ponder over the creation of the heavens and the earth, as the Quran says. And he always said that it's because of this that that I've excelled in whatever field I've excelled in. It's because of what the Quran has taught me, not despite it.
That's absolutely amazing what you've just described there. There's so much to see at the Review of Religions exhibition here at the 60th Annual Convention of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community. Where can people find you when they come on site?
So as soon as on the men's side, as soon as you enter from the scanning area, it's immediately to your left. You have the exhibition marquees. So the first one will be we have a bunch of exhibitions actually, but it's immediately to your left. You will find all the exhibitions. We're like the second one down the line from there.
Yeah, that's great. Well, Mr. Nuruddin Khan, thank you so much for joining us this morning here on the Voice of Islam Radio. It's been a fascinating discussion, and thank you for spending so much time with us to talk about the history of the Review of Religion, some of what they're doing today, and also what they plan to do or are now setting up and in the final stages as the convention kicks off today. Thank you so much for spending that much time with us and giving us all that insight.
No problem at all. It's been a pleasure.
That was Mr. Nuruddin Khan joining us from the core content team. He's one of the central people on the Review of Religions team producing content. You are listening to the Review of Religions program here on the Voice of Islam Radio. We are broadcasting live from the Hampshire countryside, where the Ahmadiyya Muslim community here in the United Kingdom is getting ready to kick off in just a few hours its 60th annual convention that happens each and every year. And this year we celebrate our 60th. After the break, we have a lot more to discuss, and we are hoping to get on another guest to our program to talk more about the Review of Religions in an international capacity. So stay tuned to the Review of Religions program here on the Voice of Islam.
This is Voice of Islam Radio, coming to you live from the blessed grounds of Hadeeqatul Mahdi, the home of Jalsa Salana, the annual convention of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community in the UK. Join us for spiritual reflections, inspiring speeches, and the true spirit of peace and unity. Stay with us for a live Jalsa coverage all day long.
يا من غدا في نوره وضيائه.
You're listening to Voice of Islam Radio, broadcasting live from the annual convention of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community UK from Hadeeqatul Mahdi. Stay tuned for an inspiring experience over the next 3 days here at Voice of Islam Radio. Celebrating 10 years of spreading the true teachings of Islam. Broadcasting live from the blessed grounds of Hadeeqatul Mahdi in Hampshire, the home of Jalsa Salana UK. One voice, the voice of Islam.
محمد رسول الله.
Assalamu alaikum. Salamu
You're listening to Voice of Islam Radio, broadcasting live from the annual convention of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community UK from Hadeeqatul, Mahdi. Stay tuned for an inspiring experience over the next 3 days here at Voice of Islam Radio.
Salamu, salamu. Allahu Akbar. Salamu alaikum ya jama. Salamu alaikum ya jama. Salam.
जलसाए सालाना के सामान के
From the heart of Hadeeqatul Mahdi, this is Voice of Islam Radio, your spiritual companion throughout Jalsa Salana UK 2026. Experience the power of unity, hear inspiring speeches, and feel the global brotherhood as we bring you live coverage from the Jalsa site. Whether you're near or far, let the message of peace, faith, and love uplift your soul. You're listening to the live Jalsa broadcast only on Voice of Islam Radio. Stay tuned. Stay inspired.
है शब और रोज हर शख्स से इज़हार या मन गदा फी नूरिही व दियाइही.
You're listening to Voice of Islam Radio, broadcasting live from the annual convention of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community UK from Hadeeqatul, Mahdi. Stay tuned for an inspiring experience over the next 3 days here at Voice of Islam Radio.
Assalamu alaikum, welcome back. You are listening to the Review of Religions program here live on the Voice of Islam Radio, where we are broadcasting from the Hampshire countryside, the site of the 60th annual convention of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community here in the United Kingdom. It will be a 3-day convention that will start in just a few short hours with an address from His Holiness, the 5th Caliph of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, which will kick off the convention, the Friday sermon, which of course His Holiness delivers each and every week. However, this particular Friday sermon will kick off the annual convention. And it's interesting to note as well that the Review of Religions as a publication on their website, www.thereviewofreligions.org, publishes a translation or a summary of His Holiness's Friday sermons each and every week. So members of the community and anyone else who wants to gain insight into the sermons of His Holiness, which are primarily delivered in the Urdu language, but are translated in various languages of the world. On the Review of Religions website, you get a summary of those sermons to read through and take in each and every week and gain inspiration from. I want to talk to you guys a bit about the Review of Religions website. So it's the reviewofreligions.org. And of course, Nuruddin earlier talked about how you can subscribe. There are 2 ways to subscribe to the magazine. One is the print edition, which is in the subscription link. And the second is the digital subscription, which when you go to the homepage on the reviewofreligions.org, you will see a big banner for the digital edition, and you can subscribe there on the spot. Now, what this gives you is twofold. Number one, you get access to the magazine, but not on paper, but in a rather in a digital format that you can consume whenever and however you please. As Nuruddin said earlier, that you can put this in your pocket, take it with you on your phone, on your tablet, on your laptop, and read it anywhere you want to consume it. and it gives you all of the same kind of readability that you would in a magazine, to the point where you can actually flip through the digital pages like a flip book, which you've seen on various other websites as well. The River Religions introduced this actually just about a year ago now. So this has been very, very popular for folks that don't necessarily like to carry around books or magazines these days. And what you also get with the digital subscription is the access, unlimited access to all the content online. Now, there is an online team that's dedicated just to producing content for the website itself and other platforms online. And this team provides unique content around what's going on in the world. So recently there was a series of articles about the FIFA World Cup, where the authors, as part of the magazine, they wrote articles about the World Cup. So it relates religion, and as Nuruddin said, with a particular focus on conveying the beautiful teachings of Islam, the ideas, and relates contemporary issues to those ideas. So if we take a look at one of the recent articles that is on the Review of Religion's website, it's FIFA World Cup 2026, a meeting place of nations. And similar to how folks come to this convention from all walks of life, from all different parts of the world, we saw that same kind of experience with the FIFA World Cup, which this year was hosted in North America, Canada, and Mexico, North American continent. And what we saw during the World Cup, aside from the football, which I'm sure everybody took interest in, and the pink shoes that everyone was wearing, we saw people from all walks of life coming together, just as we do here at the annual convention of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. But this article in particular was interesting because it talked about the state of Kansas, which was one of the sites of the FIFA World Cup, and how people from all over the country, all over the world rather, came into Kansas and to watch the football. But in particular, there were two teams that were noted in this article that received a very, very warm welcome. Now, when you stereotypically think about the state of Kansas, it is a state that you normally think about as typical white American, mid-America state that may not have much diversity. This is probably a stereotype. I'm sure there's a lot of diversity these days in Kansas, but when you think about it, the first thing that comes to mind, and the article even mentions this as well, is the Wizard of Oz and Dorothy, who was from Kansas, right? So this article talks about how teams from all over the world came to Kansas, and two teams in particular, Ghana, which received a very, very warm welcome. Folks, the people from the African diaspora gathered at the hotel where the Ghana team was staying and welcomed them with their own culture, their own traditions, which often involve some dancing and singing and all of that stuff. Now, the Ghana team flew halfway across the world to come to the World Cup, and that welcome was just so nice to see. Some of you may have seen it on TV, some of you may have read about it on the FIFA website, but this article talks about that incident. But then it also talks about Algeria, the Algerian team, who received arguably an even bigger welcome. And one person actually is quoted as saying, one person who lives in Kansas helped to welcome the Algerian team. Now, nobody told them to do this. They just did this out of the kindness of their heart. And I want to read a part of that article for you guys. Mr. Matthew Cosgrove said, "I'm from Lawrence, Kansas, and I came here to support Algeria." And then he was also wearing an Algerian football jersey. And he went on to say, "They've become part of our community, and we're here to get behind them. We're over the moon. They've come here and are part of our community. We're loving it," unquote. That was Matthew Cosgrove, a Kansas resident who lives in Kansas, and he was talking about his feelings around welcoming the Algerian team. Now, how unstereotypical is this, right? From the stereotypes that we may have about Kansas, to now Kansas becoming a place that welcomes teams from all over the world and is showing them love and affection. And it's interesting that this article then draws a parallel between these two incidents, Ghana and Algeria, and talks about how there's a verse in the Holy Quran which talks about how people will be how God has divided people into tribes and sub-tribes so that we may recognize one another. And this is essentially an example of that, isn't it? Where we saw all these nations coming to the United States of America and Canada and Mexico and places like Kansas, welcoming these people of different diasporas, whether they be Algerian or Ghanaian, and across the United States, Canada, and Mexico, these teams were welcomed, and we saw in front of our very eyes almost a fulfillment of this idea of the recognition of the other, right? The other being those that are not from where we're from. So for North Americans and Canadians and Mexicans, they got a chance to welcome people from all walks of life to the World Cup. So this is an example of an article on the Review of Religion's website, and there's many more articles like this. There's another article, Are We Missing the Point of the FIFA World Cup? And then it looks at a historical point of view, ancient roots of football. And so that's just talking about the FIFA World Cup. As I said, there's a series of articles on the FIFA World Cup, so it relates to contemporary issues, but those articles are published mainly online because they're very time sensitive. But then you have the evergreen articles, which Nuruddin also talked about, right? So talking about issues that are facing women, talking about gambling, another issue that's been highlighted in the Review of Religions magazine. One really fascinating portion of the Review of Religions magazine is a sub-project of the Review of Religions platform. It's called the Existence Project, and it talks about it's set out to prove that God does exist, right? That God does exist, and proving this through practical ways. So there's an article, I'm not going to spoil this one because I want you all to go to the reviewofreligions.org and read the article yourself. But a recent article by the Existence Project is, where is God in Gaza? So this is a question that many of you may be asking. We've seen the tragedies that have unfolded before our very eyes on our TV screens, and where, you know, we've seen the tragedy and the devastating consequences of war in the small Gaza Strip. And a lot of people during this conflict are asking, where is God? Why does God allow suffering? Now, in order to get that answer, you can search up the Existence Project. In fact, there's a whole section on the reviewofreligions.org website talking about this, and currently on the front page of the reviewofreligions.org, there is an article that explains this and answers the question of where is God? Where was God during the tragic events that unfolded in Gaza, and what is God doing to help the people that are suffering, or are they in fact even suffering? This is another question that the Existence Project tackles. It tackles really tough questions, and on their YouTube channel, the Review of Religions.org, the Review of Religions, they have done multiple videos where one of our missionaries, Sabahat Ali, goes out across the globe and holds up a big sign about, to prove that God exists. And he goes out there and has candid conversations with professors at universities, other scholars, but then even goes out on the streets and talks to the normal human being who may just be walking down. Here in the UK, we have high streets. They may be walking down the high street. They may be walking into a local coffee shop in the United States, or on a university campus talking to students. Sabahat Ali then goes up to them and has a conversation with them. And these conversations are actually, with permission of course, recorded, and you can watch them on YouTube. Countless hours of content there. And with this content, you know, these days we have a TikTok generation that may not have a long attention span, but if instead of watching what I'll call quote unquote useless, time wasting content, the reviewreligions.org does a great job, as Nuruddin mentioned, of reviewing their content, of making sure that it's staying away from misinformation and disinformation. So this is good, clean content that children, young and elders can also take advantage of, and it's pure, and it helps to instill clean core values in the youth of today. So that's just a little bit about what the Review of Religions has online, and some of the content that you can consume. We talked about the Friday sermons, which are summarized each and every Friday of His Holiness. We talked about articles relating to current contemporary issues and modern day events. So FIFA World Cup, there's a whole series looking at it from different angles, gathering of nations, historical point of view, and then of course other current affairs or modern issues, gambling. There was a lot of articles recently about alcoholism and the idea of addiction. Then you have the historical things. We've talked about the exhibitions last year around Mecca, and then following it up earlier this year in the same exhibition. There's articles on that whole thing. In fact, you can see a whole timeline. And earlier this year, there was a print magazine edition dedicated to that as well. So all of this content is available to you. And coming back to the whole digital subscription where we started from and talking about the subscriptions in this segment, when you subscribe digitally to the Review of Religions, you get access to the magazine in a digital format, but you also get unlimited access to all the articles that are on the reviewofreligions.org website. So I invite you to check out reviewofreligions.org, the main hub website, but then also find us on social media platforms, YouTube, Instagram, X. All of these platforms of Review of Religions is available. Now, as we wrap up here, we'll take another short break, and then we'll come back and close it out, taking you all the way up to the news as we get closer to the kickoff of the 60th annual convention of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community here live on the Voice of Islam radio from the Hampshire countryside. Stay tuned. We'll be back.
You're listening to Voice of Islam Radio, broadcasting live from the annual convention of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community UK from Hadeeqatul, Mahdi. Stay tuned for an inspiring experience over the next 3 days here at Voice of Islam Radio.
Salamu, salamu. Allahu Akbar. Salamu alaikum ya jama. Salamu alaikum ya jama.
La ilaha.
Celebrating 10 years of spreading the true teachings of Islam. Broadcasting live from the blessed grounds of Hadeeqatul Mahdi in Hampshire, the home of Jalsa Salana, UK. One voice, the voice of Islam.
Muhammadur Rasulullah.
You're listening to Voice of Islam Radio, broadcasting live from the annual convention of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community UK from Hadeeqatul, Mahdi. Stay tuned for an inspiring experience over the next 3 days here at Voice of Islam Radio.
Salamu, salamu. Allahu Akbar. Salamu alaikum ya jama. Salamu alaikum ya jama.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back. You are listening live to the Voice of Islam Radio, the Review of Religions program, broadcasting to you from the Hampshire countryside, where the Ahmadiyya Muslim community here in the United Kingdom is just a few short hours away until His Holiness delivers the Friday sermon live from the convention site, which will start the convention. That will then be followed by a flag hoisting ceremony where His Holiness raises the flag of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community alongside the UK flag, which is raised by the National President of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community of the UK. So you will see the flag of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community going up in parallel with the flag of Great Britain, the Union Jack. And this is probably a topic, I'm 100% sure, that if you go to the Review of Religions and you search for flags, there will definitely be something there. The Review of Religions has 125-year history, which they will be celebrating next year, a historic landmark. I find it hard to name any other magazine that has been around for that long, producing fresh content each and every month, not just in one language, but now it is available in French, Spanish, and German. So folks around the world, going back to the original message that was revealed to the founder of the community, I shall cause thy message to reach the corners of the earth. This message in spectacular fashion has been fulfilled, and one way that this has been fulfilled in even the lifetime of the founder of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad of Qadian, was through this blessed magazine, the Review of Religions. Over the last hour, we have looked at various aspects of this magazine, going from its inception to the print magazine, and how the Review of Religions has grown to an expansive platform across digital social media, YouTube, Instagram, X, and of course the website, the reviewofreligions.org. Actually take off the for the website. It's just Review of Religions, all one word, .org. You can go there and explore a variety of different content, different articles that we've talked about over the last hour or so. We also talked about the exhibitions that the Review of Religions does globally, and had some insight from our core content team member, Mr. Nurdin Khan, who spoke to us at length, and we want to thank him for his time that he spent with us, talking to us about various aspects of the Review of Religions, but then giving us insight into what the Review of Religions is going to bring to the 60th annual convention this year in the form of an exhibition on different Islamic contributions throughout the course of history to the world and to society at large. I want to thank you for joining me here this morning on the Review of Religions program. Please stay tuned to the Voice of Islam for more exclusive content coming throughout the day from all of us here at the Voice of Islam Radio. Thank you so much for listening. Stay tuned. After the news, we'll have more great programs for you.
Muhammadur Rasulullah, 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 Muhammadur Rasulullah. Ya qalbi yadhkur